right, Shlomo, welcome to the Real Estate Jam session. I know you've been on a few times, so I appreciate you taking the time to come back on.
Freaking flyer.
What's that? Frequent
I'm
flyer? Yeah, you
yes.
definitely are. And I learned a lot from you. And this post you put up on LinkedIn last week really got my attention. And I wrote the headline down so I wouldn't forget it because things seem to kind of come and go in my head anymore. But they say we have a shortage of warehouses. Fact, we don't. The only shortage is in the vision department. So, I thought, what a great way to really dig into what's currently going on in industrial, what your vision is. And I think maybe we should tell everybody a little bit about who you are. You're this information czar that I always lean on. So
Information czar.
You betcha. So, I mean, I know that you've got your finger on the pulse, and I know even more so in New York. So could you kind of give us a breakdown of who you are and what you're doing?
Yeah, so my name we got already. I do several things. I'm in the investment side of things where I look for value add acquisitions and operations. I also, since 2009, have been dealing on the restructuring side of things on CMBS loans. And over the past 6 years, I've been championing this concept of combining retail and logistics, retail and e-commerce. I think the real question is like, what can we do to revitalize retail? I think that's been a question. I think that's quite frankly a market demand question, but on a market supply side, the question is how to make e-commerce profitable.
Right.
And while there's a lot of demand for e-commerce, the more e-commerce demand you have and the more e-commerce demand you fulfill, I guess the lower your profits go. And that's been proven out multiple times and also written about multiple times. But so that's sort of my background. So I tend to see multiple asset classes from a different perspective. I've always been a digger, like saying, okay, like e-commerce is great, but what's going on behind the scenes? And one of the things that I see is like, this too many investors are sort of just going where the rah-rah is going, demand is going, not demand, right, going where the market is, saying there's demand, and maybe top line demand truly is, but not necessarily thinking through the process and saying long term, I'm doing an investment, it's going to be a 10-year investment, 5-year investment, right? Are we trading Bitcoin over here? Because we're only trading for things to go up. Let's trade Bitcoin, right? Well, it goes down. So, well, no one told the guys that own Bitcoin, unfortunately. I have a lot of friends that unfortunately been losing a lot of money, and I take no glee in it. But putting all that aside, without going on a total rant over here, what I was trying to say in that post is essentially how we look at how real estate serves what's going on in the great economy needs a better imagination, right? So, for example, we live in homes. People live now in trailers. People live now in camping grounds. There's co-living spaces. There's a lot of different things. That's maybe over imagination. That's using imagination, right? In New York City, for an example, and I'm no New York City expert, although my partners, we own a lot in New York City. But New York City, the apartment's gone from this to being this, right? And now you have a Murphy bed that's down here, and you put it up, and you got a couch. And like, where do you sleep? Oh, I sleep right here on the couch. No, hold on, boom, there you go. So the point is, I mean, there's been imagination within specific asset classes, right? Let's take hotels, for example. Hotels, there's short-term stay hotels, there's luxury hotels, there's long-term stay hotels. There's places, if you go out of town with your family to Disney, for example, you get a little home in a hotel if you want to, right? They have your kitchen, you have your living area, etc., right? So there's a lot of imagination you can do. On the warehouse side, it's been necessity-based, really. Like, am I doing cold storage? Am I doing dry storage? Am I doing distribution? Am I doing manufacturing? Like, what am I doing? How am I getting it done? And retail's been very much like, I have a space, I want to lease it to someone who sells something. And now there's less someones that are selling something. The question is, what do you do with it? So let's sell to someone who sells services. So there's medical uses going into it, there's other uses going into it. The question then becomes, can you have a person live in an office building? No, probably not. But you can have a live-work situation where you basically have an office where someone lives there. So you could combine those two. So those are interesting ways to look at it. Can you have in a hotel an office and hotel? But they are conference hotels. No one's really approached the concept of, should we create a hotel that has an office that comes with it, right? So Joe, you travel a lot for business as I do, right? Let's say we go to, I don't know, Omaha, Nebraska, for argument's sake, right? And we,
Omaha of all places.
yeah, I go there all the time. What are you talking about, Joe?
Got lots of family there. I'll hook you up.
Yeah, I know. For those who don't know, Joe's originally from Omaha. I don't know. I'm sorry I didn't drop that secret, but
Wallback, Nebraska, not Omaha. Wallback.
Wallback. Sorry, he's got Midwest values. That's the bottom line. Okay, living in Los Angeles has not corrupted him. I can tell you.
No.
That being said, so when you travel and you want to get work done, you sit down in your hotel room and you sit down in the seat, and the first thing that happens is, whoo, you fall back on the chair, then you finally steady yourself and you take your little laptop that you're going over here. Because right now my screen's this big, literally huge. And I go there, got the little screen, and I'm trying to work. You can't work, right? So what do? You some hotel rooms have better hookups to the screens, right? But has anyone created an office with a hotel? No. People haven't done that. You would think it would make sense that if I'm traveling, I don't have to waste the whole thing. I could have a place to work out of instead of going to my meeting and sitting in a bar by myself, hitting on the bartender while I watch, the Knicks lose another game, right? There's really no reason. There's no reason to do that. You're wasting time, right? And if you want to get work done, it's literally painful. You got to, I don't know, you need R&R after that, right? So
Right.
point is combining asset classes is something that we've been looking at, and combining not only where I have retail on the bottom of multifamily, but where I have, basically a house and an office together, or a hotel and office together. Those are things that should be looked at, right? I think let's take warehousing, after this long filibuster, right? Let's go to the warehouse space, right? What's warehouse used for? If you're looking for manufacturing, you're not going to manufacture out of your house, right? Or maybe you will if you're starting up a new thing out of your garage.
Startup, yeah.
Not exactly, but you're not going to manufacture out of your house, right?
Right.
Distribution, on the other hand, to distribute products. Well, if you're distributing furniture, you're not going to distribute it out of a house. You're not going to distribute it out of a retail shopping center. But if you're selling products that go on a shelf, don't you think you should have it out of a warehouse that's in your shopping center, right?
Right.
So now let's just, look at this. So what has happened simultaneous with this growth in demand in industrial? It's been e-commerce growth. That's the way it is. At the same time, there's been this decline in retail demand. It's just literally been like, it's been one attached to the other, right? It's been a game of, it's one's up, one's down. Excuse me. So how do you sort of combine the two? How do you sort of create more industrial space to the extent you believe that industrial is a tight market right now? But it's very simple. You drop down a warehouse within a shopping center. So, well, Shlomo, relax here a second, okay? But I'm gonna have trucks, I'm gonna have pallets, I'm gonna have dirt, I'm gonna have boxes. No. Check out the robotics that's out there today.
Yeah.
Locust Robotics, AutoStore, I think it's called OpEx. I mean, there's so many robotics companies that could take a warehouse and condense 100,000 square feet into 25,000 square feet. By merely adding that to a shopping center, there's creativity. Now, to be fair, I do have the patent on that, so it's going to be rough for people to do it. But the reality is, there is a lack of imagination, right? There's a lack of imagination where people say to themselves, we need a warehouse. Okay, what do we need? We need X acres. We need X truck space for 50-foot trailers. Like, hold on, you don't need to have 50-foot trailers come into a shopping center. Yes, some shopping centers, when you build your target, they're gonna want to make sure you have enough to turn, etc., to get in. I get all that. But with regard to filling most products for smaller tenants, your warehouse is now, your shopping center is now a warehouse. And you know what else? You do, I was told in the beginning when I came up with this concept, with this idea, right? I was told in the beginning, it's never going to work. Retail land is so much more expensive than industrial land, right? And obviously now it's like, come on, I mean, industrial is so hot. Retail in some areas is rough. But even if you subscribe to that theory, I will tell you that after the revenues that come out of fulfilling from within a shopping center, you will also have the ability to decrease the store sizes. And the tenant will have more stock out of that store, and they'll be able to try to pay you more rent. Why will they have more stock out of a small store? Well, because it's not actually in the store. It's on site. They don't have to stock as much. They get a more experiential store, a better experiential is a dirty word. Let's stop back. Let's assume I didn't even say that. Better experience for the customer in the store.
Right.
All in all, if you believe that there's a shortage of warehouse space, which I believe we're oversupply in a huge way, okay? Yes, I'm the idiot. I'm the one idiot that's saying that.
Well, I got some stats I want to talk when you're done, but yeah, let's go over when you're done. Go ahead.
I think we're oversupplied in a huge way. okay, I believe that even if you believe that we're not, there's a massive amount of opportunity to add fulfillment into shopping centers to basically absorb a massive amount of stock, especially as we transition to a demand-based supply chain, as opposed to make it in China months before and have leftover. Instead of doing that, if you do it on demand base where as it's needed, then you're able to constantly replenish on an ongoing basis and be more responsive to market trends, which, may hurt some of the Rosses and TJ Maxx's because there won't be that much overstock, but still, that's something that we looked at. So all in all, I think I'm going to yield the the negative remainder of my time back to you.
Here's a question that, so our current inventory, we could burn through within 16 months. It was an article I was reading this week. Now, typically as of 2021 or prior to 2021, we want to be around 32 months. But, so I don't know. I don't know if there is a shortage, but I get where you're going with the vision. We just need to find ways of all these vacant properties, because being here in LA, there's a ton of vacant properties that are, downtown LA that can be utilized. However, getting insurance on them right now is a little difficult because of our homeless situation. But yeah, I think if we do have some vision, but I guess we have to take the logistics into the whole game, the whole structure, right? So it comes into the port. How does it work? So the goods come into the port, and right now they go from the port to a warehouse and then to a fulfillment center. Is that
the current situations? Yeah. So it depends. It depends what your supply chain looks like, right? If let's say if you're Target, right? So you would have under the previous model, now they have a lot of store fulfillment, but essentially comes into the port, goes into massive regional distribution centers, and then to the stores, or sometimes it could be another level of distribution center below that, right? So it'd be like one way everything comes together, then one way they take cases of product and they then go and combine into pallets to go to individual stores, especially if you look at the grocery space, right? So it depends how it's done. Do they all come through one port? They come through multiple ports. There's a lot of things. That ain't my field. All I could tell you is as it gets closer, right, from a last mile distribution perspective, that's something I could talk more confidently about and say, listen, at the end of the day, people are using warehouses for e-commerce distribution, either centralized, even decentralized when it comes to Amazon. And there is a better path. There's a better path to do that especially within retail locations. Because what is a retail store? Retail store is the pickup location for a distribution center. That's all it is, right? So why would you not have a bigger back room? Well,
just do it there.
Yeah, exactly. Now you could, there's plenty of arguments that you made. You're stranding stock, you need more stock, it's stored in a different way, blah, blah, all that stuff. Great. That could all be solved by having a co-located fulfillment center on site, a virtual back room for multiple tenants, right? And there's enough demand to aggregate in one location. So, that's the way I see this. But honestly, those numbers you're talking about, how many months of supply we need, all these statistics are backward looking, right? It's saying, oh, historically we did this. We're projecting this. We're projecting e-commerce to grow. E-commerce, pure play e-commerce will decline significantly, is declining significantly. Those numbers, I don't buy any of those numbers. I don't.
I know. I was a little shocked when I saw those.
Challenging you.
Because I see those numbers and I'm like, well, okay, great. You're looking at historical data, but we've never really been here before, where a lot of the retailers are just putting fulfillment centers. There's a good number of people developing like you're talking about, right? And so, it's a way of the future. I think it's going to save a lot of time, a lot of labor costs. I think it's the way to go. So I think you're right. There needs to be a vision, and people need to be looking at ways to really figure this one out. How they can go more from port to fulfillment center to the store.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, if we just talk about it, right? Amazon said that they have too much supply.
Right.
I heard recently from a very reliable source, Amazon has a massive amount of space on the sublease market. Massive amount. Yes. And all I can tell you is, it's not being reported, and I don't know why. I'm not sure if people are just unaware or if there's an aggregation of data. But the end of the day over here is pure play e-commerce doesn't work. See, here's the ultimate problem. Okay, we're so excited about warehousing, and then KKR just announced a massive investment in building new warehouses. Okay, so those guys are certainly smarter financial guys than I am. Okay, but then they got to work with the numbers that I have in front of me, or the facts that I have in front of me, or the knowledge that I have. Pure play e-commerce does not work. End of story. If you need to understand, like, if you need to sort of like need a clue around that, just look at profitability. The more you add e-commerce to a store, less, right? So now what's been driving warehouse demand? It's been e-commerce fulfillment, right? So I get manufacturing because of the new NAFTA is coming back to the US, South US, or Texas is immune, or this place is immune, and this is happening and that. I get all the micro trends that nibble at the corner, but the reality is industrial rents are growing at unsustainable rates. Okay, and it will drop. It will drop if you have a massive amount of vacancy. It will drop, and if you're being supported by an Amazon that's losing on every single order, okay. I mean, yes, you could argue that no activist investor will ever go in and tell them to spin off their retail versus the other businesses. You can make all these arguments, but if I'm a lender, okay, if I look at this with pure financial and I say, let me underwrite the tenant over there. What does the profitability look like? How about Shopify? Shopify's got all these edge-related brands. Most of these guys aren't making money.
Yeah.
So I mean, but they're, a bunch of 3PLs are expanding their businesses as a result of these businesses, and they're leasing space. So I don't believe there's a shortage. I believe industrial is the biggest bubble ever, quite frankly. I think it's bigger. I think it's buoyed by a business that is not profitable. So someone's got to explain to me how I'm wrong. I get it. Okay. And I don't have any facts. I'm not going to say, hey, hedge fund guys, here's what we're going to do. We're going to short X and here's the numbers for it. Here's what it should be. I haven't done that analysis. I don't work that way. Okay. I'm not a counter, meaning I don't short something. I long another approach that I feel addresses a problem. That's just how I look, right? So I can't tell you what the trade looks like. What I could tell you is if the underlying business doesn't work, how are you investing in it, right? That's really the question, right? So when people aren't investing now in shopping centers, I think that's a huge mistake. I think shopping centers are upswing. Now, if you're a core buyer, then I get it. But then again, core buyers are buying grocery anchored shopping centers. And what's the one part of retail that has not been totally disrupted by e-commerce? Grocery.
Yeah.
And you know what Walmart's doing right now? They're adding fulfillment to their shopping centers. I'm sorry, to their stores, micro fulfillment, robotic micro fulfillment to the stores. They're doing that. If you go down to Bentonville, Arkansas, I don't know that you could tour it or not. And I've heard from someone that it's impressive. And they're planning a rollout. I mean, if you just want to know the benefit of it, look at Target's margins versus other retailer margins. It dwarfs it, right? I think it's maybe double, right? And Target's doing, they say save 90% for pickup from stores. That could have to do with various different factors, but the fact is that saving significantly for store order pickups as opposed to shipping online. It's obvious you don't be shipping back, you don't be shipping forth, and you're paying less for customer acquisition as well, as opposed to people shopping online. You need to always get to a product by either clicking through Amazon, which costs you money now, clicking through Google, clicking through Instagram, etc. So all in all, I don't think we have a shortage of warehouses. And if you even want to argue we have a shortage of warehouses, there's plenty of other products that could be repurposed to warehouses if they're done in an aesthetically pleasing way, not traditional.
Office. Plenty of office space.
Yeah, but that's another thing, right? So let me ask you this, okay? What are you going to do with a 30,000 square foot floor plate in the middle of Manhattan on the 60th floor?
Yeah. Well,
I mean,
you're not going to put warehouse because you're going to have to put elevators in.
Yeah, but even you can't put warehouse on it because first of all, it doesn't make sense. And it doesn't make sense. You can't load.
You can get trucks there. It's not going to happen.
Yeah. And Manhattan's not becoming an industrial center, right? You can't put residential next. You don't have enough window lines, right? Unless you carve out a big atrium in the middle, right? You can't put hotel into it, right? So you say, oh, New York's back. New York's coming back. Yeah, maybe, but for what, right? And ultimately, if you don't have all that business people coming in on a daily basis, and we go more to a decentralized network where we go to localized office as opposed to downtown office, what does New York look like, right? What does the future of the city look like? Are we going to have a bunch of dark stores? Well, we can't anymore because all those guys are dying. They're going out of business. GoPuff just had a hit piece on them. I don't know if it's true or it's not, but major issue. GoPuff.
Oh,
It
gotcha.
was a
Okay.
massive hit piece on about the founder. I mean, I don't know if it's true or not. Someone with a beef, wrote an article,
Right.
right? But you look at it. The other guys, Fridge No More, look at Bike, look at Get Here. I mean, the blood is running, right? And the venture capital see blood. They're like, oh, let's put more money into it, right? Maybe we could
Right.
get while the wound is hemorrhaging before you stop the bleeding, let's put in more blood. I mean, what's the point, right? Giving the guy a blood transfusion, what's the point? So I think ultimately all these models that people are trying, you see, because that's what's happening here. Take e-commerce. What's happening around e-commerce? What's happening about retail generally? What's happening at commerce generally? There's a massive confusion in the market. Why? Because venture capital and other investments are trying to find the next big thing in this massive market. Look, consumer-based economy. Anyone that cracks that code will make a crap load of money, right? So they're trying to crack that code, but they're chasing new ideas constantly, right? And every new idea that comes out, there's someone that follows that idea, someone that says that idea doesn't work and follows another idea, right? So you got all these massive ideas and they're competing for market share. And they're all going based on what's my total addressable market? What's my TAM, right? Oh, it's got $5 trillion, 15 trillion, whatever the number is. And everyone's chasing that same number. So there's so much confusion in the market that you got so many different things going in many directions, and who hurts from this, right? The person that hurts is the landlord. That's like, oh, I got a guy trying to pay me rent. What's his credit? Well, the truth is, it doesn't matter because I'm not spending that much money to build it up. And you have these guys dotting up, right? And meanwhile, it goes up, it goes down, and at a certain point, as these businesses go in and people trade their properties based on NOI that have increased, and no matter what these ideas have been so far, they failed. Okay, starting from e-commerce, because it's not profitable, it's a failure. I don't care. Okay, it is a failure. Okay, so all these concepts have driven up NOIs. So what are we set up for? We're set up for, as they each fail, they go down, right?
Right.
So when I go and I get a shopping center and it's built around, office building in the city that's 50% vacant, and the ground floor has got a dark store in it. And I say to myself, hold on, could the dark store live? No, it doesn't make sense. Financial model doesn't work. 15 minutes, a guy on a bike can deliver a banana to you. Yeah, pay $2.95 a banana. It costs you $15 to deliver. You out of your mind, right?
Yeah.
And then, so how do I model this thing? I don't. So then all of a sudden, he loses his equity in the building. All the value built up over time just crashes, right? So are we headed for a crash? I think we're headed for a huge crash. And I think the answer to the crash is not going to be buying low and just waiting for things to turn out the way it has to be. Like basically saying, oh, JCPenney is dead. We're going to buy JCPenney. Oh, Kohl's is dying. We're going to buy Kohl's. No, that's not the answer anymore. You can't harken back to what's been before. You need to come up with a way to reinvent it. So as the guy that's not the sales guy, the guy who, God willing, is the brains, that's been my claim to fame. At least I've told people that. Okay.
This isn't your wife telling you this, is it?
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But so it's like now's the time. Now's the time where I make my move is really what it comes down to, right? Now's the time where I say, okay, you need a new mousetrap for this. And for me, I'm glad that I have the experience on both sides of the equation. So like that, I had the real estate and the business side. So that makes sense. But the point is, now's the time when the people who know that stuff are able to go and capitalize, and not just the guy sitting with money and like, okay, I'm just going to buy it low because ultimately I'll figure it out. The use cases for these buildings are changing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I agree. You're going to have vision, and you're going to have to get creative. What makes you think there's going to be a crash? You think because retail is going to be slowing down considerably, and you just think with interest rates going up? I get mixed reviews on this.
No, okay, I'll tick through each one of them, right? So let's
go. We got about 5 more minutes. Yeah.
Good. Yeah.
Go quickly.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I dominated 95% of the conversation already, so why not the rest, right? Let's take multifamily. People are buying the spread on treasuries. Treasuries are up. How do you refinance? Next. Industrial, e-commerce. I think it buoyed it up. Hotel. I think hotel's not survived. I think hotel has got its best days ahead of it. And so I think that'll be okay. I think office has got a massive issue. I don't think work from home per se is the issue. I think the fact that people are going to look more towards suburban office and closer to your home, and people
Yeah.
are going to stay out of the cities, especially as the cities have larger office buildings that don't have the crowds, which means that it has to be repurposed, which means you'll have empty buildings, which means you encourage vagrancy, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I think office declines in a very big way as well, right? I think retail, I think malls are, I mean, I don't know, some of the valuations in the public markets are ridiculous. I think malls have been dead for a while. No one's just giving them the memo, and it's continued to happen. They're surviving on temp deals that are preventing co-tenancy triggers from kicking in. But the second those co-tenancy triggers could be kicked in, it's going to be a problem. So I think ultimately, and then you take the monetary policy and what's happening with inflation, I think it's going to prevent a lot of people from taking additional risk today to go and make an investment without a clear direction. So all in all, it's a perfect storm for this entire Ponzi scheme to sort of collapse. And not a Ponzi scheme as in like the whole thing is about, but there's been people and saying, oh, this guy wants to invest in industrial. I want to build industrial. I think it's going to work. I don't know. There's some issue there, but it's irrelevant. I'll do it. And they go and invest and they play on people's fears and people's desires. And that's what it comes down to. And I think the problem is, you know, what the biggest problem is that so many pensions are tied up in real estate right now, and no one's going to get hurt. Pensions. And those are guys that are too big to fail. So then it can incur a larger collapse in the markets. And I think it's awful. I don't know what's been going on. I've been saying it for a while. So here's the big disclaimer. I've been wrong for the past 10 years. I continue to be wrong. So who knows? Hopefully it doesn't happen.
And it's Friday the 13th that we're shooting.
Oh, great.
Yeah. Yeah. So all in all, well, I hope that you're wrong on this one. I'd like to stay in business for a while. But well, Shlomo, thank you as always.
You'll be in business. The brokers are the best. They make on the trade in, they can trade out.
Yeah. No, our investment sales have been super strong. Our phones are still ringing. You know, we're very our office is a little weak here in LA, but retail has been strong. We've got a lot of national credit tenants that are coming in and looking to expand here because they feel there's going to be some opportunity, not in the short term. They're just starting to look, you know, getting a feeling on pricing and location and all of that. And then they'll pull the trigger when they feel the time is right. So
I do have some advice for whoever edits this video.
Yeah.
For the portions that I talk, they should stretch it out to like 0.25 speed. So people can understand what the hell I'm saying.
I swear to God, you never should drink coffee or Red Bull or any Monster, any of those drinks. But I do appreciate you coming on. It's always fun to hear your opinion. And obviously, it's always great to see you. I wish I was going to see you at ICSC, but we've got so much going on right now. And I appreciate it, Shlomo.
I'll put it all in black for you.
There you go. Please do so. And for those of you watching, hopefully you got a lot out of this, and hopefully you drank some coffee as well. Make sure you give us a like. And if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe to the channel.
Thank you, Joe.